Morning, morning. It is the day that we are going to drive to France first, and then next week we are going to Spain. And it's very weird to wake up in my old bedroom and studio, because yes, this room used to be my studio. Here used to be a desk. That was my first setup. I had all panels on the wall and everything. I had a booth here. Then I switched the desk over to here, with all the panels there and panels on the back over there. And then lastly, I switched it over to a setup over here. And as you can see here in the wall, my mom was very patient with me. I must have drilled 80 holes in the wall and the ceiling. Meet Tompus over here, which translates to Tom's cat or Thomas's cat, or Tompus, which is a Dutch pastry. She's not going with us, but somebody else is. Someone else is right here. We're going to Spain, Junes. Going back to your homeland. Let's play Tetris. And packed. And the last person we're joined by today is the person without whom you wouldn't be able to look at such an amazing person on camera. It is my mother. Mom, hi. How is it to have such an amazing son?
You want a real answer?
Okay, let's go to France. As you can see, I did not get my amazing acting skills from a stranger. We were well on our way, crossed the border to Belgium, ready for adventure. But then, when we were on the highway, I heard the left rear tire go dooga 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 dooga. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that's a really good sound. What do you think? Is that something we can get to France with? So, I found the culprit. There's a pretty big nail inside of the tire, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. So, we're gonna change the tire and then go to a shop somewhere to get a new one. Hopefully, we're gonna have a spare tire, but I've never done this before, so wish me luck. So, welcome to How Do You Actually Engineer? How do you change the tire? So, if you grab, I think this is a compressor, or is this a microphone? I'm not sure how to take this off because I've got this, and this goes on that. That doesn't go there. And then this. Are we gonna look at the manual? So this thing is for this. Yeah, you thought you were going to get mixed breakdowns. You're getting wheel breakdowns.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, mission accomplished. Brand new tire number one. While you're at it, do a second one. We're ready to go to Spain, June. All right, let's manifest. Next trip will be in that car. I think that has to wait a little while longer, as I am about to sign the contract of my brand new studio in Amsterdam. And I think that alone will cost about the same as a Porsche. As you may know, for the most part of my career, I have run an amazing studio for Red Bull, which later became the Atlantis studio. It had an amazing SSL console, it had flush-mounted monitors, a really nice live room, and a great mic and outboard gear collection. You may also know that right now I'm in the process of getting a new studio built and then set up. But the big difference between those two studios is this one is actually mine. My own. But I still wonder if that big high-end studio with all the gear you can dream of is my benchmark. Will I ever actually be happy with setting up a studio within my own budget? Which, to be honest, is much lower than Red Bull's. Besides the dream of having a studio in Amsterdam where I can completely do my own thing and set it up however I want it, I've also got another dream of owning a house in the middle of nowhere, somewhere remote, where I can just do my thing and build a studio. We are spending the weekend in this castle you see behind me, and honestly, being here feels like I've just unlocked the demo version to my dream life. And now I wonder again if it is the right decision to rent a studio in Amsterdam. See, I love the dog that Juno is becoming over here. Getting to roam free and just live his life. Lay down in the sunny grass. It must be amazing to be you, Junes. Look at you. Castle guarding dog. It fits you, I think, Junes. June, let's go. Let's go upstairs. And this is the room I'll be staying in. My bedroom is in the back, but this is kind of my living room. So I've set up a little setup over here with my laptop and I brought the D3Vs by Adam, which I will do a video on in this trip because they were the perfect setup for, well, basically setting up a studio here and in Valencia as well. Got the H200s as well. I brought my Apollo X4, so I've got everything I need to record these two beautiful clavecin and baby grand piano. But what did I forget? I forgot the most important and crucial part. I forgot microphones. Okay, apparently those were just two pianos, and this is an actual clavecin. So it's a little bit different, straight strings, and they've got picks, almost instead of hammers. You can hear the difference in sound as well. They've got two more over here as well. They've made it themselves. And this is another one, which is almost like a upright piano version to like the grand piano version of the clavecin. Really cool. Right, Junes? Let's go to your homeland. Driving to Spain today. And we're off, leaving the castle life behind, driving south through the French mountains and to the border of Spain, where a very warm welcome was waiting for us. Did I mention that I forgot my passport? So for the spot in Amsterdam, the most important thing is that it feels right and that I can be creative. But I also need to figure out how to make this space make the most sense business-wise. To be clear, I have no intention of running this studio as a commercial facility. I've done that for years and I really don't see myself doing that anymore in the future because it is just not what I want to do in life. I just need this spot to be the ideal place for me to do my work as an engineer, a producer, film my content, do master classes, and maybe even host events in the future. That last part is a big reason in why I chose the Recorder Complex to put my new studio. There are multiple studios, there is a communal kitchen, and there is plenty of space to hang. The room I'll be in over there will be the perfect size for 90% of the recordings I need to do, maybe except for drums and full band recordings, but definitely for the content creation side of my business, this will be the perfect spot because I get to do the entire interior design myself and the acoustics myself, and I can tailor that exactly to what my needs are. So I can hang lights wherever I want them, I can put cameras where I need them, I can put speakers and gear wherever I need to, without having to ask somebody else for permission if I can change something about their studio setup because I'm renting from them. Ideally, this room at all times would be set up to do a recording session, then do a mix, a stem master, then go live on YouTube or record a YouTube video from scratch without too much prep work and without having to reorganize the entire room. But then it comes down to the maybe most important part, the actual studio and the gear. What am I going to need? And what makes sense to add to the setup. So most of the work I'll be doing in the studio is mixing, for which I need particular gear. I'll be doing stem mastering, where I'll take 10 to 16 stereo stems and take them over the finish line, so to speak. So I need dedicated gear for that. I've taken a little bit of a sabbatical on recording since I've left the Atlanta studio, but I definitely want to get back into that as well. So maybe we need to level up the microphone collection, and I definitely want to go back to do more production work as well. So really be involved with a song from start to finish. So the question is, what do I need for that? Do I need particular gear to make that process go smoother, quicker, make it sound better? Or do I need certain pieces of gear to attract more or a certain type of client? And what type of gear would that be? Before we drive back to Amsterdam, we've got one more stop. This weekend, I'm joining a writing camp just outside of Valencia at a studio you might actually recognize. This is Orange Grove Studios. If there's a dream house for me, it might be this one. They've got about 20 rooms, 2 pools, and a full-blown recording studio. And all of that surrounded by orange trees. I was there for the Tail to Tail writing camp organized by my friend Ananor over here. Everybody was divided in 7 groups and they all had to record in just one day. So they got about 45 minutes each, which I don't have to tell you is very limited time, but obviously we made it work. And as you should on a writing camp, we signed things off with a jam session. Hello and welcome to Juno Doesn't Want to Get in the Car. And we're leaving Spain, Junes. En we live in Spain, Jones. Ja, bijna.
Goed zo.
No, I'm not going. Okay, Jones. Leaving a rainy Spain behind, and hopefully we're getting back to a sunny Amsterdam. Or is that too much to ask? Well, we've got 22 hours of driving to do. So, better get to it. And do what we got. This trip I figured out that the reason I like driving these long distances is because I cannot do anything but think. So what better time than this trip to figure out what gear I need for the new studio. So as far as analog gear goes, I've obviously got the mini SSL and a bunch of outboard gear. But would I need a 32 or 40 channel large format mixing console in my studio? I think that makes sense if you have a live room where you can actually record and need the tactileness of that console. So most of the recordings I'll be doing is single instrument stuff like keys, bass, guitar, and of course vocals. But if I want to make my business around doing the recording side as best as possible, I think I need to invest in a vocal chain, more preamps, more compression. I want to have like a C800G then, because then I can give people the best of the best, or maybe an Elam 251, a U47. I want to be in that range. Then I've obviously got the Neve 1073s already and the SSL preamps and channels. But then I also want to get a nice compressor like a CL1B or maybe an Unfairchild or the Hazel Rig VNE, because I think if I'm going to focus on one particular thing, I need to be able to give my clients the best version of that. But I know you've also done the calculations in your head while I was talking. That comes down to a pretty big investment that I don't know I'm actually going to be able to recoup, because the music industry in general, but definitely in Amsterdam, is very much DIY. We'll do the recording ourselves with what we've got, and then we'll get a mixer involved to fix it later. So, is there enough demand for actual recording sessions of that caliber? On this trip, I visited 2 studios. One was Jazztone, which had a more simple setup with just a console and no outboard gear. They focus on jazz and call themselves a working class studio. They've got the right pieces of gear to do what they need to do, and because of that, they can keep the investments a little bit more realistic. And with that, their fees. As you've already seen, I also worked at Orange Grove Studios, which had an amazing vibe with the view outside and the natural daylight. But even though it had a vintage Neve VR console and some really cool outboard gear, I ended up doing most of my work in the box, because that allowed me to use the tools I'm familiar and comfortable with, and also because it just worked and it was the quickest way to get set up and get going. Damn, would he piss off? That's crazy. So with the conversations I had at those 2 studios, I'm wondering if it is actually a good idea to invest more money into the engineering side of things than the gear side of things. Or should I invest more into instruments and making the studio more musician friendly? And what type of instruments should I add to the collection? I mean, on this trip we saw a bunch of really nice instruments, and I would love to expand my collection of instruments and my knowledge of playing instruments a lot, because I think moving into the production side of things without being able to play an instrument is making things a little bit harder than they have to be. So maybe I'm getting second Juno or a Rhodes. Piano would be nice. Another option could be to actually do invest more into the engineering and mixing side of things. I was thinking about getting a tape machine, I think 2-track maybe, so that would mean I do the stem mastering as I do it right now, but then also having a possibility of running that stem master through tape. That might be nice. But then that makes me think, while I'm at it, why don't I also upgrade to an Atmos setup, so I can actually do the stem master but then also do an Atmos version? I think that could be cool, because then also I could do regular mixing in stereo and also mess around with mixing in Atmos. So what do you think? Of all of the options I just mentioned, what would you focus on and what would you invest in if you were in my shoes? Let me know down below. last day of the trip. We've got another 8 or 9 hours of driving left to go, and then we're back home in Amsterdam. But I've got someone to wake up over here. I swear he's been snoring like he's been doing the 14-hour drive yesterday. Yo. You know. Yo. Yun. Vamos. I say vámonos. I forgot my Duolingo last night. I can tell that we're getting closer to home because it's much colder and it's raining again. Maybe I should just move to Spain, even though it was raining there as well. The last stretch of the trip, and I think it's time for me to make a decision. Am I or am I not renting this studio? Honestly, setting up a new studio, building that completely for myself, getting new gear and new toys to do whatever I want to do sounds amazing. But it's also really, really, really scary because it's a new chapter. The gear is not free. Setting up the studio is not free. Rent of this place is definitely not free. And that makes me think, what if it does not work out? What if I invest all that money, get a new place, set up a studio, and I do not make enough money to keep it running? What if I don't get the new clients that I need? What if YouTube does not take off and I do not get the collaborations with brands and people and all that stuff that keeps my business up and running? What if I am not going to succeed as a producer and I have to keep on doing the engineering jobs I do not want to do anymore because it's not the type of person I am anymore? What if I have to take on the shit mixing jobs or work on music I do not like just because my cost of living has gone so out of hand that I need to make so much money to just be able to pay for it all? That scares me. But what if it does fucking work? What if I do get the studio of my dreams, get all the toys I can play with, try all the new stuff, get a fucking SSL console in there, get a tape machine, get Dolby Atmos, try it all out, bring you all with me, have a team that can run the studio while I'm there, while I'm away, have it be the most amazing place that musicians come in, they just have a really great time. We can have a lot of fun making music, and then we can thrive all together, and in a couple of years when I've outgrown this place, we can set up an even greater place or a second place in the south of France, in a castle or in a villa in Spain, maybe even both. What if it does work? Thanks. That last bit came straight from my heart. That's actually what I wanted to get off my chest. That's why I made this video, because that has been in my mind for months since I've been thinking about getting a new studio. I have not signed the contract yet. I'm about to do that tomorrow. It's a big step. We're gonna take that step and we're gonna make it happen. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will enjoy future videos. I just got into Belgium almost home. Almost ready to get started on this new chapter. And as I drive into Amsterdam, there's only one thing left for me to do, and that is check on the studio. So the next day, I went straight there. And there it is, my future studio. As you can see, they're working on the box-in-box construction, and the outer wall is ready, the window is in, and they're setting up the inner wall before adding the ceiling. And it hit me. In a couple of weeks, this will actually be my new studio. And here we are. This is the contract, the signed contract of the new studio. So we're gonna go ahead and build a new studio and make a lot of fun music, content, and experiences out of that room. If you want to follow that, there's a join button down below that brings you to the virtual internship, where I not only have mix breakdowns, recording walkthroughs, and many studio videos and a bunch of extras like my mixing template and a WhatsApp group, but I will also be dropping some updates of the studio build in there. So if that's interesting for you, hit the join button down below and I'll see you there. Later.